Andres de AA Sports. Earlier this month in December, the Mexico women's national football team had their final international games of the 2024 year. On November 30th, the Mexico women's team destroyed Costa Rica 4-1 and then tied Panama 1-1 on December the 1st. Here are the team's grades for this performance. Goalkeepers: B. Blanca Felix, the 28-year-old goalkeeper for Chivas, played her first ever game for Mexico against Costa Rica. She made one save but also conceded a goal. Granted, the goal conceded was simply a perfect shot to the top corner of the net. There was not really much she could have done on such a good shot from Alexa Herrera. Outside of that, she had a solid game, albeit Mexico mostly dominating possession and not facing too many shots from Costa Rica. In the second game against Panama, 21-year-old Celeste Espino also got to play her first game for Mexico as the starting goalkeeper. While she did concede a goal on a free kick that went on the score sheet as an own goal, it was arguably the unluckiest goal a goalkeeper could ever concede. The shot hit the post, then hit the back of Espino's head to go into the net. It was not her fault and simply bad luck. Outside of that unlucky moment, she also had a solid game, making 2 saves in her debut performance. Defenders: A-. Karen Luna, Greta Espinosa, Kimberly Rodriguez, and Nicole Hernandez were the starting defenders for the game against Costa Rica. And outside of one goal conceded amid already scoring 2 on Costa Rica, they completely shut down Costa Rica's offense completely. Karen Luna had 2 tackles and an assist, and Espinosa also had 2 tackles, one of her own. Nicole Hernandez also had an assist in the game, and along with Rodriguez, held the fort down on the left side of Mexico's half of the field. In the second game against Panama, the lineup was mostly the same, the only change being Araceli Torres starting at the right back position instead of Karen Luna. Torres had a solid game with 3 tackles won on her own. The other 3 defenders in that game combined for 3 tackles won, so Torres definitely ended up being the best defender in the game against Panama. The defenders held their own overall against Panama and prevented them from having any serious opportunities, as Panama only had 5 shots total in this game. Unfortunately, it was simply bad luck that allowed Panama to survive this game with a draw result. Midfielders: B+. 18-year-old Alice Soto started in her first ever game for Mexico against Costa Rica and contributed an assist. A solid first game for Soto. Rebecca Bernal against Costa Rica started, this time as a defensive midfielder rather than a center back, and scored the 3rd goal of the game in Mexico's 4-1 win in that game. Carla Nieto also had a clean game against Costa Rica, helping the midfield dominate ball possession. Nicole Perez came in as a substitute for Soto in the second half and scored a goal. In the second game, the starting midfielders in Mexico's 4-2-3-1 formation were Bernal, Nicole Perez, and Diana Garcia. While they didn't dominate ball possession as much as they did against Costa Rica, they still contributed offensively as Perez scored Mexico's only goal in the 24th minute. Nicole Perez was Mexico's best midfielder, scoring not only in the game against Panama, but also against Costa Rica, entering the game as a substitute for Soto in the second half. Overall, the midfield was competitive. Offensive front: A-. Scarlett Campero scored Mexico's 2nd goal in their 4-1 beatdown on Costa Rica, and Christina Birkenwood scored the 1st goal of that game in the first 5 minutes of the game. They didn't produce goals in the second game, but Yasmin Casares did note an assist for the goal against Panama, which is always good to see. It was nice to see the offensive front finally produce and look more lethal. Head coach: A. In the post-game interviews, Costa Rica head coach Benny Rubido and center back Valeria del Campo praised the Mexican women's team, saying that the Mexican women's team is an example to follow. This is not only because Costa Rica was outplayed, but they were outcoached. Pedro Lopez had an incredible coaching performance against Costa Rica and Panama. He put some of the best players in a solid 4-2-3-1 formation, once again establishing a great defense in midfield. In my prior videos, I said one thing to watch will be how he improves the offensive front to be productive with the attacking midfielders. Sure enough, that was exactly what happened. Pedro Lopez's adjustments finally got the offensive front to start scoring goals, and at the same time, he also gave new players playing opportunities. Four players made their debuts for the women's senior national team during this international break. Fatima Servin, Ali Soto, Blanca Felix, and Celeste Espino. 2 of the players were under 20 years old. And for the most part, they all played well. Pedro Lopez's coaching and leadership of the women's national team has not only improved the team, it has also made it full of opportunities for new players. Honestly, Lopez's coaching is very similar to how Pachuca is structured. The team is well balanced with experienced veterans, players in their prime form, and young promising prospects, and they are all getting playing time and more experience in some way. This is a great thing to have, and hopefully Pedro Lopez and his leadership as coach is what helps them get back to qualifying for the Women's World Cup. Andres de AA Sports, let me know what you think of the Mexico women's national team's results in the comments. Feel free to like and subscribe to help support this channel as well. With that, the women's team ends their 2024 year in strong form, and now it's on to 2025.